I was doing the character that was written, Margie McDougal.
You like Castro? I mean, how do you feel about Castro?
What is Castro?
You know,
I had to perform for the director, but I wasn't performing for the director.
because as far as I'm concerned, he's a no good think. 2 weeks ago, I wrote him a letter. Never even answered me.
Actually, I was Margie McDougal. I came out here to dance in Little Abner. That was 1959. And I went back home because I called my mom and I said, Mom, I finished my work on the movie. I'm coming home. She said, why don't you stay there? Maybe you'll get a job in a movie. I said, oh, I don't want to be out here. I don't like it. They forced me to join Screen Actors Guild and it cost me $100 and I'm never coming back here. I said I was saving my money. So she said, come home if you want. So I went home. And she said, by the way, when I was home, she said, would you go to Gristides and get some groceries for me? I said, okay. We lived at 69th Street in Central Park West, so I had to go to Columbus Avenue. I start walking down the street, and I see these guys in front of a brownstone house, and they're taking pictures, and they're talking, and they're measuring things. And I said, oh, what are you guys doing? They said, we're shooting a movie here. I said, oh, great, great. They never told me the name of the movie, nothing about it. I go home, and I told my mom about it, and she said, why don't you go back to Hollywood? Maybe you'll get a job. I said, okay. So I went back to California, and my best friend, Dickie Lerner, was here. He danced in the movie with me. And I got an agent about 2 weeks after being there. Her name was Lillian Small. She handled mostly women. And her son took me for an interview to meet Billy Wilder for a movie called The Apartment. Well, first of all, I didn't know who Billy Wilder was then. I didn't know anything about The Apartment or anything about Hollywood or what was going on. I got to the interview, and we started talking, and he wanted me to read for a part that Joyce Jameson played, the Marilyn Monroe part. I said, I can't. I said, I'm not right for it. It's not me. I don't look like Marilyn Monroe. I'll look ridiculous. And I'm not going to get the part anyway. So fade in, fade out, he said, I've got another part for you. Margie McDougal, the drunken barfly from Brooklyn. I said, that sounds more like it. So I ended up playing that part. And they said, we're going to New York. I said, oh, what are we going to shoot in New York? Well, we're going to shoot where you walk down the street with Jack Lemmon. You walk down 69th Street with Jack Lemmon. After you've been in the bar, you're going to his apartment. And we get to this building, and I said, this looks familiar. It was the same building that when I was going to the market, to Gristides, it was the same building that I went to, and I saw these guys measuring things. I couldn't believe it. This is where we're shooting.
When I think of him all by himself in that jail in Havana.
The scene that I did in New York, they cut it out completely, and then we reshot it. They built a whole, on a sound stage at Goldwyn Studios. They built the whole thing just to shoot that particular scene over again. I was so nervous. I was so scared. Here I am with Jack Lemmon. Well, I stood like 2 feet behind him practically. And Billy Wilder said, Hope, if you don't stand next to Jack, you're not going to be in the shot. You won't be in the picture. I said, oh, well, I didn't want to seem pushy or anything, like I was pushing myself in front of the camera. I was so nervous, and so I was scared. So we did it, and I did walk next to him, and I held his arm. I didn't read the script. I just read my part, which is terrible. I should never tell anybody that, but I didn't. I just read my part. I came out, and I did it. I came out here, but I have to tell you something. Billy Wilder was one of the best, he was the best director I've ever worked with. He's the only director that ever directed me. When we did the scene at the bar, and I had to take the straws out, And I caught a glimpse of Jack Lemmon, and I thought, oh, he's cute. So I had to take the straws out, and I was drunk, and I was smoking, and I didn't smoke. So I put the cigarette out, and I took the straw out, and I started futzing around with it, and putting the straw in my mouth, and I'm going, and the thing would just fall over. I was terrible. It was terrible. He said, okay, cut. Then he said, this is what I want you to do. You see where the straws are right over here? I said, yes. He said, look at them for a minute. Know where they are. Never look at them again. I said, oh, okay. He said, just take your hand, take a straw, tear the end off, and then blow. And blow it at Jack. Well, I did. And I was just studying him, and I was just taking a straw. And I'd stare at him, and then I'd take another straw. He never paid any attention to me. It would fly by his head, it would land on his shoulder. But the straws that I was blowing weren't the straws that landed on him. They had some guy there doing it, blowing the straws on him. Otherwise, I don't think it would have worked. But it was just great, because I never would have thought to go like this and never look at the straws and just keep looking at him and taking another straw. I never would have thought of that. Then when I go to pick him up at the bar, I say, you buy me a drink, I'll buy you a little music. And he says, oh, something, he was drunk. So I go and I put money in the machine, then I come back and we sit at the bar, the two of us. And if you ever see the movie again, you'll notice the way it was directed. He said, never look at Jack, and Jack, never look at Hope. Look straight ahead at the bar, at the mirror behind the bar. He said, just say the words and say them fast. That's it. That's all he said to me, and I did exactly what he told me. And then went behind the camera. I remember this. He went behind the camera when we rehearsed it, and he was looking at him and he's going, sweet, sweet, be sweet, be sweet. And it kind of just made me go from like, it made me go from like, it relaxed me and it made me feel happy. And we usually did everything in one take, and that's the truth. One take. He always liked to get it in one take. I was there from before Thanksgiving till after Valentine's Day. But I didn't work the whole time. But they paid me. They paid me $500 a week. That was my first talking part.
Go home.
Jack and I just worked together, and that was it. You know, it was just work and very pleasant and very nice. I must say, he was the loveliest man. He was so sweet and so helpful and so kind to me. I never forgot him. Actually, I didn't pay attention, I'm being honest with you. I really wasn't paying attention. I was so busy thinking about my lines and what I'm going to do here and what I'm going to do there and running to the bathroom. Every 5 minutes I was so nervous I'd run to the bathroom. That was it. And Billy made a joke on the set, thought it was funny, and it embarrassed me. Oh, hope he has to go again. We'll have to cut. I mean, it was terrible. You know, I was always the brunt of every joke. They had a big screening in Westwood at that, I don't remember the theater, the big theater they used to have premieres and stuff at. They had a big screening, and Billy invited me to the screening. And I invited about 10 of my friends. And I said, when I go off, when I finish, applaud, okay? They all said, okay. But the whole audience applauded before they even got a chance to applaud. I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. But it was such a thrill having all my buddies there. And then going home after seeing the movie and calling my mother in New York, which was like a 3-hour difference. How'd you do, Hopi? We okay? I said, Mom, they gave me a hand at the end. They applauded me. It was like I didn't expect anything like that. It was such a thrill. I'm sorry. It just really was a thrill. It was the biggest thrill of my life. It was the happiest moment in my life. Except when I married my husband. That was the happiest.
Can I ask you a personal question?
No.
You got a girlfriend?
She may be a girl. She is no friend of mine.
I didn't even know. I had no idea. I had no idea I was good. I had no idea. I was thinking, oh, I wonder if I'm any good in the movie. This is before I saw it. I hope I'm okay. And when the audience applauded, it was like, they were applauding me. I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. It was a happy moment. I think mostly men were offended by it. Most of the people that reviewed it that didn't like it were offended. They felt it was in bad taste, and they didn't know what it was. Was it a comedy? Was it not a comedy? Was it a serious drama with some laughs in it? And they were offended by the men cheating on their wives and using Jack Lemmon's apartment. That's the thing that bothered people the most. It didn't bother me, because that went on in life anyway, before and after, and it still goes on.
Hey, over here, Lover.
Well, I can say it was the best experience I've ever had in my life in the movie industry. I mean, I've done a lot of movies, but some of them were schlocky. No, I won't say it. I won't say it. Some of them were schlocky, but they were funny. And some of them I overplayed. I was over the top. And I didn't have a good director like Billy Wilder. Most of the directors, or all of the directors that I worked with, never directed me. Okay, action, action, action. Okay, and I go on and I just do what I did. I do my thing, and they never said anything. Fine, okay, that's a print. Or we'll shoot it one more time. They weren't like Billy. Honestly, I think he wanted to do a good movie, and there was a good story involved, and I think that's what he was after. I mean, a lot of other stories I can tell you, but I can't.